Hi everyone, welcome back to the Good Day Battlers podcast. I'm Debbie Pebble, joined by the lovely PvP Steve.
Wazza!
And what a podcast we have this week. So much to catch up on. We welcome Annihilate, touch on all things in regards to Charlotte and Liverpool Regionals. That should be pretty much done by this point. And also get ready for Melbourne as we've been, counting down the days for this regional. And also, what's up with Maloney? Let's get started.
Great intro, Debbie. Great intro.
All right. So we've got Annihilape now available in Pokemon Go. Annihilate being the fighting and ghost type Pokemon that was introduced in the Baldea region, was it?
Don't ask me, man. I don't know anything past Sinnoh. It's in Pokemon Go now. That's all that matters.
It is, and it requires to evolve it from Primeape to Annihilate. You do need to battle a Pokemon that is either Ghost or Psychic type. You only need it as a buddy. You don't need it to be buried up and in the game itself. But you just need to have it as a buddy. So whether you verse a friend with like a 10 CP Ghastlies or something like that, or you just have it in the background while you're playing GBL, you probably will come across Ghost or Psychic types to accumulate those, I believe, was it 20 or 30? I think 30 actually. 30 battles to make that requirement to evolve it into Annihilate. And yeah, it has really made a big impact into the game, Steve.
Yeah, I mean, I really like how PV Poke put it, that one of the four horsemen of the meta apocalypse is coming, because Annihilate has definitely been one that people have been looking forward to for quite some time as something that could really, I guess, break open the game a little bit depending on the moveset. And, I mean, this is sort of old news, like it was sort of data mined with essentially just Primeape's identical moveset, so we thought that it might change, but they didn't really change it. They actually just kind of made it better by adding in Shadow Ball alongside Counter and some other really strong moves. And so, as you'd expect, it's sort of come in, made a bit of a splash in the play Pokemon circuit already. I think that it may be like you could argue that it's a little bit underwhelming in some senses, but at the same time, actually, it's been on both top 12 graphics for both Charlotte and Liverpool Regionals. So maybe that's actually not giving enough credit.
Yeah, it is just like, like a new toy to play with. So it's really interesting to see how people have integrated, especially for Charlotte being the first regional to have Annihilate in play. I believe it was almost like under 24 hours it got a note. They got noticed for to be able to be eligible for play. So that was a very quick turnover. And it was interesting to see lots of people's mindsets of going, oh, do I just play and just keep my original team that I was planning for Charlotte, or whether they're just like, oh, Annihilape's in play. All right, let's shuffle things around.
Yeah, well, it was a little bit problematic. It was a bit of a drama because the original expectation was that Annihilate would not be released for North American battlers until sort of after the window. For those that aren't aware, I guess Pokemon have to be released at least. I think it's 24 hours earlier than the regional registration time for it to actually be eligible in a regional. So, for example, if your regional starts Saturday 9 a.m. and they release a Pokemon at 8 a.m. that day, it isn't eligible for that regional. And the expectation was that Annihilape similarly wouldn't be eligible because it would be too late. But then it's sort of like shock, horror, surprise. It was released and it was all of a sudden on the outer rim of the eligibility, and so snuck in. And so there were a lot of people preparing for the Charlotte Regional that were not preparing for an Annihilate meta. So they had to sort of, as you say, decide whether they want to stick to their teams, whether they want to build a team to counter Annihilate, or if they want to build a team with Annihilate on it. And 1/3 of people competing decided that they were going to go with the Annihilate team because it was on exactly 33.3% of teams. So, it tells you something when something just so powerful is sort of dropped at the doorstep. And just go, oh, well, someone is going to qualify for the World Championships off of this meta. See how you go. Good luck.
Mm. Absolutely, and it's just I've played a little bit with Annihilate, and I quite like it. It's definitely um out of the fighters that are available, I think it definitely has a bit more coverage. Um, and you know what? It's just an interesting Pokemon to look at as well. I'm not sure what's going on with his hair, but I'm just like, oh, okay. And also, how did it become a ghost? I don't know. Who hurt you? Who hurt you, Primate? So how did we get here?
Well, it might have something to do with all of those Hypno versus Primate matchups from Silpharina days of old, because those Primates didn't last too long. But regardless, it's here now, and it is in ghost form and is sort of trudging along. I mean, actually, Debbie, you and I both made our Annihilapes live on stream with like 20 minutes of just battling each other with 10 CP ghosts et al. It took some time, but we got there eventually. And yeah, look, I'm not a big Annihilate stan, to be honest. I feel like it was a little bit squishy. If you want to go for sort of ghost damage, I feel like there's things like Sableye with Shadow Claw even sort of covers you a little bit better. But
Mm.
it is definitely, it's quite clear that it's still a Pokemon that can do quite a lot of work. And I mean, as is clear, has made a little bit of a splash on the Play Pokemon circuit for sure. And I guess with that said, talking about the Play Pokemon circuit and that first regional of Charlotte, I mean, I can guess you can sort of rip the band-aid off. So even though it was on 33% of teams, it was on 1/3 of teams, and this was like at 130 person regional, absolutely massive. And so there's like over 40 teams with Annihilape on it. There were only 2 that made it to the top 16. Uh, so,
Yeah.
I guess people not being familiar with how much it can tank, like how to actually
Mm.
sort of operate it, they didn't have any cores sort of developed with it. So the only two people able to cross into that top 16 threshold were Firestar73 in the top 16 and Tommy W coming into the top 6 with the Annihilate. So I mean, props to both of them. They actually ended up with like relatively similar teams. They like both had Lantern and Lickitung and Mandibuzz and just other bulky Pokemon to sort of back up the fact that Annihilate is a little bit squishy. But they did it. They made a
Mhm.
distance. Was it meta destroying? Not particularly, but, but it was there.
Mm. And like, it's interesting with the move set that Annihilate has. I think people have opted for Ice Punch and Shadow Ball. But what I've seen on late on through Grow Battle League is that some have been opting for Night Slash, and I've seen some others just going for fun go with Close Combat. So it's quite funny for me when people land a Close Combat, because most people don't tend to shield on their first move with Annihilate. So it is good for the fun factor. Is it going to be something that I will see in future regionals? We're yet to see, but I don't think so. But it's funny.
And that's something to give credit to, I suppose. But hey, it's out there. Watch out for it, and it's a litany of movesets. I mean, I guess it matters a little bit less on the Play Pokemon circuit, where it is open team sheet. You know what moves they have. You know if they're hiding a Close Combat Annihilate up their sleeve for some reason. But look, I can tell you pretty confidently that most people running the Annihilate were running Ice Punch and Shadow Ball. Although I will say there is one person in the top 32 with an Annihilate that did have Night Slash Shadow Ball on it. But other than that, it's almost exclusively going to be that Ice Punch
Mm.
Shadow Ball. But I guess with that said, the Annihilate wasn't the only Pokemon making a little bit of a splash at the Charlotte Regional Championships, because there were also some other fun spice picks. And I think like long-term listeners of the podcast are well aware of some love for spice picks that get thrown around in these parts.
Mm.
Definitely gets a bit more attention than some would say is reasonable, but I would say not enough. But
Mm.
Evan 777713, one person in particular who came 4th place at the Charlotte Regional Championship after becoming 4th place in the previous, I want to say Portland. He's come 4th place. Oh no, San Antonio. He came 4th place in 2 regionals in a row, and this one he ran the Shadow Zapdos, which is awesome.
Wow. Team Instinct represent.
Look, not why I liked it, but you can have it. It's not like you have gyms, so I guess
Oh.
you can keep the Zapdos in the top four. But, but he was, also running it with the Diggersby, which you don't see too often these days. In
Mm.
fact, there was literally no other Diggersby in this tournament. There was only one Diggersby, and it came fourth place. There was only one Zapdos, and it came fourth place. So Evan making a pretty solid mark with his relatively spicy team there, coming away with a 7-match win result, 7-2. But then, of course, I guess the big winner of the weekend was Lyle Jeffs the third, who has been sort of making a bit of a stir, landing some pretty big performances in the last couple of regionals. I think he came second place in Pittsburgh, way back at the sort of start of the season, when Wadaj sort of took out the first championship of the season, but now taking a championship of his own with a relatively meta
Mm.
staple team of Azumarill, Chargebug, Shadow Gligar, Lickitung, Vigoroth, and Whiscash. So no Annihilate, and clearly enough to be able to handle Annihilate between the Lickitung and the Gligar, I suppose.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I believe it's the same team as Abhinav as well, who won
Mm,
the previous NA regional um that has just gone past as well.
yeah.
Fact check please.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you're correct. I mean, I've been seeing a lot of sort of jokes and discourse on Twitter as well about the team, because it seems like there are a lot of people who are running the identical team. So
Mhm.
Elam was another one who's sort of running a same version of the team. But look, it's sort of like 6 of the big meta staples at the moment. I mean, if you sort of look
Mhm.
at the top 12 graphic, let me read out the first 5. It's Gligar, Azumarill, Lickitung, Chargebug, and Whiscash. So that's 5 of the team of 6, and then they've just happened to throw in one extra one that wasn't quite the Annihilate. They put in Vigoroth instead, but yeah,
Mm.
it's just basically, I would argue, the basic meta line of current
Mm.
current zone, I guess.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, through there. I mean, yeah, it is such a strong core as well, and I feel like leading into even leading into like next week for us will be Melbourne. That I think this team will probably come up in um someone's sheet for sure.
Mm. Oh, definitely. I mean, it's sort of a weird spot where the meta seems to be evolving a little bit more towards a bit of grass coverage, because, like, that ultimate team does have an Azumarill and a Whiscash on it.
Hmm.
Lickitung isn't particularly strong against grass types. Vigoroth isn't particularly strong against grass types, and you're really relying on that Gligar and the Chargebug. And when you're pinned like that, you can sort of get forced to make a few decisions that you might not otherwise. But also, congrats to K Sean coming in second with a relatively similar team, but with Poliwrath as a fighter instead of Vigoroth, and also running Frostlass alongside
Hmm.
Skarmory. So Frostlass getting a little bit of love. Also not a Pokemon that was used very often in the tournament. There were only 4 Frostlasses in the entire thing, and only one of them was in the top 32, and it was that second place finish. There's also like another spice pick that I actually really, really love, and I've sort of been told that maybe spice pick isn't the most accurate term these days. It's sort of, I mean, it won the very first regional of the season, and it's been putting in decent performances all the way through. It just hasn't broken into hard meta relevance, and that Pokemon is Dugong. Dugong, out of pocket, aka the artist formerly known as Hot Pocket, also coming in top 6, was running that Dugong that we saw Wadaj win with back in Pittsburgh. We've seen it sort of just crush multiple tournament scenes since then. Not many, like there are only 3 of them in the whole tournament, but like it's a really interesting Pokemon that you've got Ice Shard, Ice Wind coverage for the Gligar. You've got Drill
Mm.
Run for all of the Registeels. You've got play against things like your Whiscashes. You've got really good matchups into Azumarill as well. You've got play into Mandibuzz. You've got it's a bit of back and forth with Zapdos, which, I'm not sure if we're exactly going to see a rise in Zapdos usage, but regardless,
Mm.
it's there. But I mean, out of pocket was also running Altaria, which is another Pokemon that isn't really going to be wanting to see those Dugongs. But I think that sort of rounds out the spice in the top 8. I guess we should
Mm.
also, give a little bit of a shout out to one of the Debbie Pebble favorites, being the Clodsire, who are, also
Yeah.
Tommy W, the Annihilape King, running the Clodsire as well. The only other Clodsire in the top 22, top 24 was Battle Bill, who came top 12 with Clodsire on his team, alongside a very meta stable team. But hey, it's there. It's making a showing, Debbie. It's there.
Yay, the friends are available. More Colodsire, please.
You heard it here
Maybe.
first. Liverpool, retroactively, get on it.
Melbourne, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Well, I have a feeling I know one person who might be running a Clodsire in Melbourne, but hey, we'll see how we go.
Is it me? Maybe.
Maybe.
It's going to be hard to fit it in my 6 Charmer team. I just don't know where I'm going to put it.
Mm. It's sort of uncharacteristic that you've managed to like take a poison type in to your sort of inner circle, but here we are. This is the world we live in.
Well, 2024, just time for change.
New year, new Debbie.
Oh, watch out.
Regardless, I suppose that was Charlotte, which is it's old news. It was like a week ago, Debbie. Like, are you serious? Are we still talking about Charlotte? The absolute new, fresh news is Liverpool. So fresh that we don't even know the results, but you all do. But regardless, we do have the top 16 at the moment that have sort of gone through to top cut into day 2. And we sort of have the top 12 usage across the meta as well. I think the big standout statistic out of the top 12 Pokemon is that Annihilape very much dropped in usage. So, I said before it was on 1/3 of teams at the Charlotte Regional. In Liverpool, that's dropped down to 20%. So, losing over 1/3 of the Annihilapes that would have been on the field. So, anyone going into this tournament, specifically building a team to counter Annihilape, maybe that wasn't the best play. Only 1 in 5 of your opponents is potentially going to be running it. So, it is what it is, I guess. But
I think that's where that underwhelming factor came in. Whereas, when we had Charlotte, it had like such a high impact and such a high usage. But like you said, only 2 made it into day 2. And I think obviously the Europeans would have seen that and been like, yeah, okay, it's okay, but it's not great. That yeah, it was fell into the back, but it's still the top counter user, or counter Pokemon in that top 12. Still out, whereas Poliwrath was only sitting at 13% and Vigoroth at 12%. So it's still considered higher in those counter using Pokemon, but yeah, definitely less usage overall.
yeah, you're right. It's very much in the conversation, with the only other Pokemon with a fighting charge move that is a little bit bigger is Registeel, who is up at 26% with access to that Focus Blast that sort of provides a little bit of the same role to a lot of people's teams. There are quite a few teams hanging around the Liverpool Regional that are running a Registeel that don't otherwise have a counter user. For example, Lurgan Rocket, who's currently in the winners bracket in the top 16. No counter user. The only bit of fighting damage he has is from the Focus Blast on Registeel. And so it's sort of a very reasonable way to build your team. But of course, there's plenty of other fighters as well. I mean, there's still a few people running Metacham. There's a Defense
Mm.
Deoxys in the top 16 as well from Stone Collection. It's like there are other options. I think what it sort of tells you is that there is some diversity in the field when it comes to the fighting role. And so you've got some options when you build your team, which is nice, At the same time, though, 62% of teams have Lickitung on it, 50% of teams have Gligar on it, 50% of teams have Whiscash on it. So, like, there's only so much you can do in building
Mm.
these teams. But there is a little bit of some statistics on the top 16 from Dracoviz. So,
Mm.
out of the top 16 teams going into day 2, 81% of them have Lickitung, 13 out of 16, 12 out of 16 have Whiscash, 11 out of 16, 69%, nice, have Gligar. Half of teams have Chargebug, which is almost exactly its usage percentage. So Chargebug sort of just doing what it can do. Azumarill on
Mm.
7 out of 16 teams, just under half, and Annihilape. And I think this is the big one. Annihilape at 38% of top 16 teams. So forget about the 33% of teams coming to Charlotte. Forget about the 20% of teams coming into Liverpool. Annihilape has way overperformed and has almost doubled
Mm.
like what you'd sort of expect it to be in the top 16, which I think tells you that people that are bringing Annihilape know what Annihilape can do.
Mm-mm. Yeah, really surprising considering what happened the week before. That yeah, it's definitely you know what, it's nice to see something different than Medicham. And so so yeah, really, really surprising and these are the top players as well. So they definitely know how to work it around the monkey, I suppose.
And I mean, with that said, I'm looking at the sort of the 8 players that are still in the winners bracket, and you want to know what Pokemon shows up on 2 different teams, and I'll give you a hint. It rhymes with Dugong. Uh, makes you think.
Yeah. Mm. Well, again, they're both incredible players as well. So
Yeah, that's right.
it's just,
Tomahawk UK and Nighttime Clasher actually coming in like only last week. He was making his North American casting debut in Charlotte, and he's just instantly gotten on a flight, headed over to Liverpool, and is now competing over there, and apparently doing insanely well. So
hmm.
I think he might know
Look,
something.
I think he might be kind of good.
Hmm, debatable. Well, time will tell, I guess.
We're waiting for him to come onto the podcast. Let's be honest. We need to talk about. We still need revenge on Rodent Gang.
That's true. Magma Man, I'm not sure if he's going to have the respect on his name these days because there's no Rodent on Nighttime Clashes team. He is running the Dugong, which I respect, but yeah, no Rodent. So mad
There's not a
apologies to
Togedemaru.
Magma.
Where is the Togedemaru?
He's got some things to answer for, that's for sure. But
Mm.
a Liverpool, I would suggest, over delivers when it comes to spice as opposed to the Charlotte Regional because, again, sort of focusing in on the 8 players in the winners bracket alone. So these are players that have not lost a single match so far. We've got people
Mm.
we've got a Guzzlord hanging in there on a team with
Hmm.
Pelipper, which like
Yes.
I'm such a big fan of Guzzlord showing up in Pokemon Go, like just PvP, just how big it
Mm.
is, how weird it is that it just feels like it isn't a Great League Pokemon, and yet it continues to sort of keep popping up, keep showing its
Yeah.
face, and just saying, "Hey guys, what's up? Got any snacks for me?"
I have been to team building at the moment and on PV Poke, and every now and then Guzzlord would come up as a potential threat. I'm like, who's gonna bring Guzzlord? Surely not. And then I'm always proven wrong. There is always someone that will just kind of like, oh, you know what? Yeah, let's put Guzzy in.
Yeah, well, I mean, shout out to I'm gonna butcher this name, Lesu Dwa, 22, maybe. I'm not
Yeah.
sure, but
Yes.
it's got the Debbie step of approval, so we'll carry on. But we've also, in addition to that Spice team with Guzzlord and Pelipper, we also have not one, but 2 Abomasnows hanging out
Hmm.
up in this top bit, which is like not a Pokemon I'd really thought about. And I guess it's a little bit similar to the fact that, like, you do have these Dugongs running around, like you're getting this ice coverage, but you're also getting that grass type coverage to fight back against the Azumarils and the Whiscashes. So, and the Lanterns as well, I should say. So, and the Dugongs, actually. So, like, Abomasnow
Hmm.
sort of has an interesting amount of utility coming into this tournament, and both Lurgan Rocket and V Tenacity have sort of come in, with their Abomasnow heads held high, ready to fight here, and really just bulking out the amount of ice types that are hanging out in that sort of top 8 circuit.
Yeah, and I think with the there is a few, don't get me wrong, but there's a like lack of fire types that I feel like
Mm.
something like a Bomber Snow has a bit more can have a bit more play. It's a bit safer to bring at the moment. So it'll be interesting to see if there's like a development in the meta where there will be more fire types. I mean, I can see that there is um, a I've just lost track of what the name is for this one. The crocodile one.
Skeledirge.
Skeledirge. And also in the losers bracket, there is a Charizard as well. So but otherwise, there's not much available with any of the Pokemon that even have a charge move that's a fire type.
Mm.
So really interesting to see. And again, it creates a more room for something like a Bomber Snow to be brought in.
Yeah, well, as you sort of mentioned that, it's a little bit wild. So in the top 16, there are a total of 4 fire types. There's 1 Talonflame, 2 Skeledirges, and a Shadow Charizard. And 2 of those fire types are being run on the same teams as have the Abomasnow. So it's like
Mm.
the sort of guarding, like there's only 2 fire types being used on non-Abomasnow teams. And actually, by the looks of it, the 2 Abomasnow teams are set to face each other first up tomorrow, Logan Rocket versus V-Tenacity. So they will each have an Incinerate user that they have to deal with from the other team. So whether that means Abomasnow gets left at home or not, I guess we'll have to wait and find out. But I mean, Logan
I,
Rocket
ho-
is running the Azu Whiscash core, so
I hope it's a snowball fight. just 2 Abomasnows going at each other. I'm like, yay.
I mean, look, it may be summer down here in the southern hemisphere, but I suppose up in Liverpool it is getting a little bit chilly, so it might be the season for it.
Or do they get weather boost?
For everyone else's sake, let's hope not, because there's still a lot of battles left to go. Actually, what that means is that one of these Abomasnows is sort of guaranteed to progress on to the winners semis. Actually, something's a little bit dodgy here with the Dracoviz graphic, because they seem like they've got a set of a bracket in the top left of these graphics that they usually fill the names on, but there aren't actually enough slots for the names, which I think is why they haven't filled them in. So I think it's actually the winners quarterfinals, which means that one Abomasnow will be going through to the winners semis for Shawsies, which is top 8, I think. So
Abomasnow top 8. Woo!
woo! Shout out. Dugong not confirmed. We'll find out soon whether it breaches the hole.
Well, we can add that to this, the spice picks. So yeah, it's Abomasnow. I feel like hasn't really been seen since maybe like OCIC last year.
Mm.
Really making an impact. So the fact that it's in a day 2 is really interesting. I feel like we've come full circle. It's almost February. Like, we just Abomasnow comes back around again.
Yeah, I guess just it's February season, which again, it's winter in North America, but hey, is what it is, I suppose. But regardless, I think that's most of the spice that is hanging out in the Liverpool Regional. There is a few little bits like Statistan running a Mantine in the losers bracket, but
Hmm.
otherwise things look relatively stock standard in Charlotte. But as we've sort of mentioned multiple times in this podcast, this isn't sort of the end of the road for the Play Pokemon circuit, because this weekend coming, is the second regional of the Oceanic Pokemon Go circuit, the Melbourne Regional Championship, what used to be home of the Oceanic uh, International Championship, RIP OCIC. But hey,
Sadness.
big sad. But it's
Big
even
sad.
being
But
hosted in
hey!
a it's even in the same venue just to rub it in.
I
It's like
know. But hey, it's our regional. We're back. We're back. We're playing
woo.
again. So we have Melbourne next week that will be kicking off on the Saturday. Registrations will be on the Friday. And yeah, it'll be, I believe we have maxed out capacity. So there it will be all 64 slots have been taken, which is super exciting. It will probably be the biggest regional for Australia this year or this season. And yeah, I'm excited. I think it'll be really, really fun. And it'll be interesting to see. I mean, like that many players I haven't seen at all. Well, for Australia anyway. I'm not used to it. I'm from Perth. We only get like 20 people. Come on now.
It's okay. We still love you, Perth.
We
Just not as
better.
much as the other kids. Oh,
Aww.
I kid.
People are
I've,
coming this year, I swear.
we'll see.
So if you happen to be in Melbourne, do come along and say hi. If you happen to be at the regional, even if you aren't playing at the regional, there will be some special like PvP esque spawns around, and there will be some field research as well. And yeah, if you happen to see one of us, come and say hi. There'll be some socials during the Saturday and oh yeah, Saturday, possibly Sunday. Sunday actually will be Chancy Community Day, so if you happen to be around, we'll probably, if I can speak properly, will be. That was on purpose, by the way.
Uh huh. Uh
But
huh.
English is my second language. Come on, but we'll be down at South Wharf, probably playing and catching some Chancies. And I know people are complaining about Chansey Community Day, but I like Chansey, so I won't hear a bar of it. So don't at me. And yay, Chansey.
Or do at her. She really needs social media engagement. So feel free.
I don't need it. I'd like it, but I don't need it.
You heard the woman. She needs it. So at Debbie Pebble, you can really tweet whatever you want at her. She'll just be happy that the notification comes through, get a little dopamine hit, and happy days. But yeah, we will be there at Melbourne. And of course, as one of our favourite humans, Zoe Two Dot says, maybe there's a shiny boost in the local area. Maybe.
Well, she got heaps last time. Well, no, she got heaps. Alan got heaps.
Friend of the show, Alan Surprise.
I did hear that Alan will be playing at Melbourne Regional yet again, so I hope there's another clash of the titans between Alan and Vish again. But we'll see. We'll see how the cards fall this time round.
Yeah, look, Valiant Vish had better be practicing real hard right about now. Let's just put it that way, because he doesn't know what's coming.
I hope he has some Sandshrew counters. Underpowered Sandshrew counters.
Let's hope he's brought like Vaporeon or something. It's like, oh, please, Vish, you don't want to get caught unprepared. He's probably powered it up more by now, so watch out.
Maybe one, at least 2 stages up now.
Maybe. We'll find out, I guess. All in good time in just not very many days.
Yeah. It'd be good. It'd be good. I really do hope it's like, part 2 of this saga between Valiant Vish and Alan Surprise. But like, it might happen here. It might happen in Perth. Who knows? But I hope it continues. I thoroughly enjoy it.
In the words of that one soft taco, hard taco ad, poquito les dos. Melbourne and Perth? Hello?
Yes. Why not both?
Hello?
I know.
Hello? Mic check, 1, 2, 3.
All 3? All 3 of them?
I mean, yeah, the big sweep. Big sweep. It'll be huge.
We need to make a series. We need to make a series of it.
Oh, you can just like take the same photo every time in a bunch of different settings. I'm keen.
Yes, different settings, different shirts, but like the same handshake. Just
oh yeah,
it was so good.
I look forward to it.
You know what the best one will be? Alan at Worlds with Vish.
True. I mean, when they're playing in the grand finals for the world championship title, that's going to be when it's seriously like, yeah, you're right. You're right. You're right.
If there's like a stage thing where like both of them can be on stage and with the it'd be chef's kiss. It'd be chef's kiss. That
looking forward.
We got to make it happen. We need to. We need to set it up.
At TPCI, at TPC, at Niantic, at anyone who we need to add to make this happen. It'll happen. we'll pull the strings in the background. ESL Australia. Yeah, but that's pretty much it. Melbourne next weekend. So we'll obviously come back after that to talk about all things Melbourne shenanigans. And I guess we should probably just also, say the couple of dreaded words, just because, there's no stream in Melbourne. Just confirming that.
We haven't made that announcement, and I suppose this is, you come here for information, right? This is why you listen to the podcast, right?
Naturally.
But there is no stream, so as the situation is in Australia, that we do not have our regionals streamed. So Brisbane, we tried. Melbourne, we tried. And yeah, we won't have a stream, so you won't see all the action. We will bring the information back to you through the podcast on the following next podcast, whenever that is. You'll know a winner by now. By the time that the next
By
podcast comes out.
now,
Unless, no, not by now. Well, it depends when they listen to it.
I guess. Although I'm going to suggest.
Congratulations to Yakovovich again.
Okay, yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe we do know the winner now.
I was just calling it now. No. All right. No. Place your bets. Who do you think is going to take it for regionals for
The
Melbourne?
Associated Press calls it for Alan Surprise. Oh my goodness.
Okay, and who's the finalist with Alan?
I mean, do I even have to say it? Come on.
Hmm.
Debbie Pebble. Regional. I heard she has a 3rd place regional medal. That's pretty cool.
I think people won't be able to handle my 5 Charmers and a Clodsire, so yeah, maybe it will be.
Look, if they're running Annihilape, they're in trouble. Let's put it that way. But
Annihilape, Guzzlord, Altaria.
All picks that, as we've talked about in the last half hour, are so everywhere. Like, just absolutely, usage couldn't be higher for Altaria. I mean, if Hot Pocket's using it, then maybe someone uses it. Maybe.
Just get destroyed by a Skarmory and a Registeel. That's pretty much it. I suppose that's what my 1 Clodsire is for. Go.
Oh, true. Yeah, he'll be right. As soon as you see a Registeel, Clodsire comes in, happy days, bing, bang, boom, win the RPS, win the game, win the match, win the set, win the tournament, happy days. Congratulations, Debbie Pebble. Let's go. But I guess moving on from Melbourne, there was one tiny little announcement as well. Tiny for some, very big for others, in that there is a new event on the calendar, on the Play Pokemon calendar, right at the very end. Right at the end. It's sort of like, I think it's like the start of June 1st and 2nd, to be precise.
Yeah, it's over in Bologna, Italy. And it's over a period of time, which is an interesting window to have this tournament, because I believe it will be when a season change will happen. So it means that movesets might change halfway.
Yeah, so I think for this one, because June 1st and 2nd is Saturday, Sunday, I think that I guess the reality of the situation is that we don't find out what the stats of the move changes are quite often. So we nowadays we get one of the piece of information, not the other. Is it energy or damage that we find out? It tells you the damage difference. But we don't know the energy. It just says things like energy generation increased, energy generation decreased. So they're sort of going to go into registering their teams, and then the day that the move updates all come through, they'll be battling. So it's going to be a little bit blind. Actually, I'm not sure how the time zones work out in terms of, like, as Australians, I think we've got it very much set in our heads that, the move updates sort of happen like in the relatively early morning. Like that's when everything happens. But in Italy time now, it's 8 a.m. now. So it's probably at like night. So it'll actually probably be, because it's all based on US time. So maybe day 1 will happen before the move changes happen. Uh-oh.
And then day 2 will be when the move set. So they might be playing into midnight practicing and just be like, oh gosh, like, when it does flip over. It'd be really interesting. I think it's kind of, as we've discussed before, it was like, as you described it, as chaotic. And that's kind of funny. So it'll be really, really interesting to see. I'd love it to be live streamed. I think it'll be so like interesting to see like how that will play out.
Well, it will be live streamed, right? All the European ones are live streamed.
Oh, yeah, of course. It's not us.
So this isn't an oceanic tournament. Of course it's streamed.
It's Spain without the yes, Spain.
Yeah.
Mm.
Espanol. But yeah, look, it very much is what it is. I look forward to seeing the chaos unfold because it's at the very end of the season. I'm gonna suggest like most people will have qualified at that point that are going to qualify. Like it's
Mm.
such a last opportunity for the Europeans to try and get that qualification. Like they either need to be on that precipice that they need just a little bit more, like they need another 80 points, and so they need to get to top 16 in this tournament to qualify for Worlds, or it's going to be like, one person wins the tournament and they get a qualification as well if they aren't already qualified, but it's going to be very last chance. So I
Mm.
think potentially a lot of people are going to be playing it a little bit more for funsies than they might have the rest of the season, and might really just like go hard into the strategies of, hey, I know that Talonflame with Incinerate is going to be huge for day 2, and just put it on a
Mm.
team with 5 actually sort of Metamons, just hoping that you get to day 2 and sort of carry it through. As this being something that sort of I think Caleb Peng specifically brought up. Uh, Sorry to Anacor if it was actually him, but I think it was Caleb. But regardless, in what is it? We're heading into February, so in 4 months' time, chaos time.
Yeah. I wonder if it will be a big shift, or will it be one of those lackluster updates where it's just like, whoa, boom burst. So, so that has
Oh
no
man.
impact on it at all. So yeah, it really will depend on that lead up and that proper announcement, like that usually only comes up what it, I know that, like, Michael said that he'll give us earlier updates, but let's be honest, the updates are come out pretty late. So, but yeah, if it's a lackluster update, then it's not going to affect it at all, and it that might be the play if they think that it might interfere with it. Um, I'd like it to be a big update, just so it would be funny, but um, I'm also kind of like, oh, would they just be like, oh, look, we put this tournament in, can you just like hold off on the updates, and the meta that we have going into Worlds is similar to the one previous, which happened last time, so maybe we'll see, but again, I'd like to see chaos.
I welcome our chaos overlords ready to come in, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see on like May 29th when Niantic announces the move updates. And, maybe they won't even know, like, maybe Boomburst is announced, for example, a Boomburst similar situation. And it's like, we don't really know how good or bad it's going to be. And then people sort of bring it just in case it's really good. And then it's just Boomburst.
Has anyone actually ever brought Boomburst into? Can we check that?
Surely. I mean, I don't think there's like an easy way. I mean, there's things like you can sort of look for Pokemon, I guess. Like we can
Or
search
like a
for,
like a Loudred?
yeah, maybe someone's running Exploud potentially.
Exploud, yes, yeah.
But like, I think Flygons tend to appear. I guess we'll know if they
Mm,
ran Boomburst if it's been since the move to open team sheets, because
mm.
Dracoviz does sort of keep all of the move sets available to be seen as well. I mean, I guess I can do a quick check because what it's Flygon Xcloud. That's sort of the ones,
Um,
right?
Noibat evolution. Um,
Oh yeah, Noivern. Yeah.
has anyone brought a Noivern in?
Look, I have my doubts, but there's all of those trainers who sort of have non-competitive teams that they sort of run in stuff as well. Like a while ago when I put together that graphic of every trainer who's ever run Welmer, there's it certainly comes up with some less than serious teams, I guess. It's like I can see that there was a Flygon that was run in Stuttgart, but they did not run Boomburst for some reason. I'm not really sure why.
Coward. Coward indeed.
Sorry, does this mean that you're going to be running? You're going
It
to be
doesn't
running
fit my
Boomburst?
team. You know this. It doesn't fit my vibe.
It's a likely
Why,
story, but
why would I bring a dragon into a full fairy team
you can
plus
bring
Clodsire?
Exploud.
It's
Exploud is
too
cool.
ugly. It's
Oh,
ugly.
oi, oi, oi. Come on now. that's really not on, dude. That's
I'm
I'm
allowed
reporting.
preference.
I'm reporting it at Pokemon HR. That is not on.
Fine.
Also,
Go on.
as I'm searching through, there's another Flygon at LAIC that was also not running Boom Burst. So I think that's as
Hmm.
far as open team sheets go. So I guess, best of our knowledge, there has potentially never been a Boom Burst at a regional.
Oh, someone's got to bring it. Stephen.
Yeah.
do
Why?
you have a boom burst Neuven under or at 1500? Yeah, just saying.
I made a YouTube short one time
Oh, okay, okay. So you have
where
one
I
made.
where I specifically am like, no one should use this Pokemon ever. Actually, what was the title? I think it was, I'd ripped it in
So
the title.
so please search. Please
the,
search for
the
this video so you can watch it so he can get some more interactions on it.
thanks, Debbie. The title is "Don't Use Boom Burst Noivern." So that's my opinion pretty clear.
Maybe it's a strategy. It's like reverse psychology. It's like, don't use it, guys. Don't use it. Look how bad it is. Ha.
Uh, I mean, it clearly hasn't worked.
Well, we'll see in Melbourne.
I guess we will. And
Hmm.
maybe at Bologna/Bologna/Italy.
Yeah, well, yeah, Italy will be very interesting. We'll see how it all pans out. But yeah, a very late notice as well. I mean, it's interesting that they brought it out. I believe there is a new host, or is that the correct term? Someone
Yeah, I
that's
suppose.
a new team that are running it over there. So maybe there'll be more official tournaments in Italy in the future as well. So it seems like their first go at it. So that's it. That's cool. The scene's growing, which is awesome. Let's just hope there's more in Australia. But yeah, we'll keep plugging away at our 3 regionals. But yep. So I think just to wrap it up, if you, like I said, if you happen to be in Melbourne, drop by. And both Steve and I will be there, and maybe there'll be a Whalmer, maybe there won't be, maybe there'll be a Wigglytuff, maybe there won't be. And yeah, is anything on your end, Steve, or before I
Yes.
wrap it up? Mm-hmm. I said, is there anything on your end, or and you just said
Yes.
yes, yes.
Okay, thank you for watching. Don't forget to follow all of the social medias at G'day Battlers on Twitter and also on the YouTubes, also on the X if you're that way inclined, calling it what it wants to be called. Which I guess is they did just update the app on my phone like only yesterday. It changed from Twitter to X, so I guess it's finally official on my phone at least.
It was official a while ago, but yeah, it's unfortunate. I still call it Twitter.
I mean, look, as long as twitter.com works, I know
Have
what
you noticed
I'm
that?
got bookmarked.
Have you noticed that Embed started working back on Discord now with Twitter?
No, awesome.
It worked for me the other day. I didn't have to put FX Twitter, so interesting. I don't know what's going on. Maybe there's a glitch.
Yeah, maybe it's not supposed to work. Hang on, I'm just gonna try and send you a video. Does this click? Oh, it does work. Cool. Anyway, that's
Steve,
also
what's this
fun.
video?
It's fruit.
Thanks for watching, listening.
Bye. See you next time.
Oh, it's so sad. Oh. Sad piano music. You okay?
I don't know, Debbie.
What's wrong?
I've been thinking about Annihilapes and it's just why Why do they make the Play Pokemon Top 12 graphics have a white background so that you can't even see Annihilape's hair? It looks like a shriveled mothball.
Uh, yeah. I don't know what to say there, and we can give some feedback to the Dracoviz team if.
No, it's not them. It's the official graphics, the one that the Pokemon Company International puts on their streams. It's just so white.
I think
it's insane to me that this piano sound clip goes for so long. It sort of seems like I accidentally had it on infinity before, and so it just keeps going and going and going.
Why do I feel like this feels like a Days of Our Lives episode?
It just never stops. I think this podcast is going to be the longest one yet, just because this piano bit's in it. And you know what? Oh, okay, bye.